This video is for someone who is looking for studio monitor headphones. This is my beginning of a series of videos looking at searching for the perfect headphones for the studio. And why is that so important to me? Well, because it's a hobby of mine to be in the studio and create albums of my music. And I found that working with studio monitors never emulates the other places that you need to test the music to ensure that you have a perfect sounding palette of every instrument that's well balanced, balancing all the frequencies in their spot. So headphones are crucial. I've always used monitors, headphones, and just had to go through a slew of maybe 15 different places to listen to the music. Not different places, but different items. Like your car stereo, your portable speakers, your speaker in the kitchen, all those varieties, your hi-fi sound system, your 15-inch woofer speakers, your digital small tiny speakers, your surround sound speakers, you name it. I want to make sure that the music sounds balanced and equal and perfect in wherever you decide to listen to your music. So finding these headphones I found is very difficult. I started with the K553s, the MK2s. These are AKGs by Harman. And I only purchased these because the BeyerDynamics weren't in stock. And apparently no one locally is waiting for the stock. They claim that no one's getting stock on anything. So, so I had to order them online. And I found this out. Every place that has a headphone listening station is fake. I tested it because I listened to the headphones at Guitar Center, and I said, you know what, can I take one out of the box and listen to it as well? And they're all equalized. They all have an amp, so you're not getting the experience. I didn't realize that after getting the BeyerDynamics, after listening to them in the store and they didn't have them in stock. I had to order them. When I got them in person, that's what this video is about. The frequencies just way off. And there's so much hype over these headphones. It's just not true. And please like and subscribe to see the next videos, because I'm comparing various different types of headphones to see which one, and giving you my honest opinion and something that I see as facts. And a huge fact with the BeyerDynamics is the highs are way over the top. You have to turn the treble down. I want to be equalized. I want to keep my levels, and I use a tube amp for the studio. I want that natural, smooth sounds. So, I don't want to have to adjust anything. I want to make sure it's flat, and I hear enough bass and enough treble to be able to go out and test it in the car and in the other items where you listen to music and have it sound perfectly. That's the whole point, to save time. To do it once with the headphones, listen to it throughout, and not have to go back and forth and say, well, the bass is too loud in the car, so I need to lower it here, and it still has to sound good over there, and then back and forth. It's very time consuming. So so the AKGs are the first ones that I had to purchase. They sounded just like the BeyerDynamics. The BeyerDynamics sounded much better in the store, but in person when I got them, horrible. So those we'll talk about here. Like and subscribe, and then we'll see some more. Real quickly, before we get into the video, if I end up not being in love with the AKGs, the K553 MK2s, they are absolutely the best fitting, the nicest materials on any headphone. I've seen a lot of headphones, the real expensive ones that pros use, and I just love, hopefully these are the ones that are going to win the battle for the home studio, because I just love the way they feel, the materials. It just feels so quality. Just, it's just like a guitar. You can have a guitar that feels amazing and looks like crap, but it feels so amazing in your hand. The way the strings are, just the way it feels, will make the guitar sound great, because you're inspired. Sometimes even the pickups don't sound that good, but the way the guitar feels in your hand, it's just magic, right? That's what these headphones are like. They feel like magic. You take them out of the box, when you first put them on, you're like, wow, these don't feel like $200 headphones. They feel like $1,000 headphones. I'm inspired. So hopefully these are the ones. Let's get into the video. Thank you for watching. Here we're comparing the AKG by Harman, okay, the K553 MK2s. These are closed back studio headphones for monitoring, mixing, and mastering, versus the BeyerDynamic DT990 Pro, and it says it's a studio legend. And, excuse me, phone call. So it says it's a studio legend, and we've seen a lot about this on YouTube. Before I purchased these, I did a lot of reviews, and that was after I went out and tested a few headphones. On the display, I was blown away by how this sounded. It just seemed very open because of the open back, obviously. And I liked it better than the 770. And on display, it just sounded really great. So they didn't have them in stock, and no one locally had them in stock, so I had to order them online. And the reason why you have to use this here, I'll explain, is because this here is metal and will scratch any surface. You know, these are not foldable. And these are the AKG's K553. So I was at the store and I thought, you know what, I need something quickly because I need to finish working on my album. I've been working with studio monitors for a while, but now due to circumstance, I need to use headphones. And these are the best of the bunch. I didn't directly hear these at the store and was impressed at all. They were just the best besides these. These in person impressed right away. Now, I brought these home and I was blown away, and I'll explain why. So, these here are out foldable. So first point I'm making, you know, I have to use this to keep it from scratching. You know, you drop it anywhere, this will protect it because it's metal, it's really firm, really strong. So, you know, we'll start with the build quality. You know, build quality on these, I don't like the mesh. It looks very, I don't know, very 60s, 70s. Maybe they were going for that look. And it is plastic. It does feel like it might be metal, but it's plastic. This surround here is also plastic. And these cushions right away feel super soft, but I think to be able to get the frequency response that these get on the low, on the bass level, they need to be really tight. So I have a pretty big head, so these are on pretty tight. These feel like feathers, all right? But let's finish with the BeyerDynamic. So these are 250 ohms. You need a lot of power to power them. You've seen that, you could see all the details in other videos. I'm gonna go over my basic impressions. Uncover this, it has these buttons. It's just a cheap piece of metal and the cable going through it. I guess it was an afterthought. They said, hey, you know, we need some cushion here, which I think is very important because of my big head. But these go in and out. And they just, you know, they feel like good build quality. And these cushions look like they've been taken off and back on. I don't know how these come on and off, but I don't know, they just seem used. And this one may be a bad, you know, I'm returning these, but this may be a bad headset, because this one, we'll get into that later, but I'll explain. Let's just finish the build quality. And, you know, you don't know which one's right or left. And I guess it doesn't matter because they're perfectly made to fit either way. But if you look closely, real closely, where was it that I found? I can't even find it now, but there's somewhere, yeah, it's right here. I don't know if you can see that, but there's the right and left. But I guess it really doesn't matter with these headphones. Let's move these aside. We're looking at build quality. These just seem a lot better build quality. I don't like this plastic. So the foam on the other one actually blows away. You look and you immediately see which one's left or right, okay? And when you get used to them, you know that they sit flat when you turn them, and this will always be left and this will be right, because they don't turn the other way, because as far back as they go. And this metal piece, this is all metal. This is not plastic. It's an aluminum actually over a plastic to save on. But it's a really good plastic underneath, but this is an aluminum top, or you know, it just feels very thick, or they did a great job of finishing it to make it look like aluminum. You know, you have your model number there, looks really classy. AKG here, professional studio headphones marking. This looks kind of bluish or gray on here. And this has the removable plug, which is proprietary, but that's okay. You know, when you travel, you know, you won't have the stress on this one. You will. This will eventually give. This seems really cheap. But, oops. So, you know, this just seems really firm. This piece here, you know, it has your levels. So, you know, okay, I'm graded an 8 on each side or whatever it is. This is metal band. I love it. But this is definitely lacking cushion. I'd probably remove this and maybe find the cushion that looks really nice to replace it. But that's the only complaint I have of fit. And this is much lighter, doesn't squeeze against your head. So speaking of that, oh, and they both come with the 1/4" and 8" adapters. The AKG has a really nice one that screws on there, proprietary. I'm sure you can find others that screw on there. The BeyerDynamics just pushes on there. It does have a little screw there. You don't really notice it, but it just seems a lot cheaper. Look at that. It's just, you know, and we'll delve into price. The AKGs were a little bit more expensive, but probably because no one's buying them, because there's no great videos on them. All right, so these get all the hype. These get all the hype online. A lot of reviews say that these are amazing. You know, let's start with frequency response. That's the first thing that matters to me. You know, when you're recording in the studio, you want a flat response. Why? Because you don't want to be able, you want to be able to mix down your music, and you know, you always test it in the car, in hi-fi stereo systems, Bluetooth speakers, all sorts of, you know, Google speakers. Wherever you get a chance, you need to test it to make sure all the levels are you know, equalized. Because it sucks when you've got the wrong headphones or the wrong studio monitors, and then you take your music to the automobile and the bass is just overpowering. Or you put it on a Google device speaker, Bluetooth speaker, and or any Bluetooth speaker, and you don't hear the bass. And then maybe the guitars are too heavy, they're too loud, or the vocals are lost in the mix. So that's why it's so important. So these I guess in the on display they have a very flat frequency response, and it uses a system that may be the design so the BeyerDynamics sound great, because the display of the BeyerDynamics are all on one system. You go to the next headphones and then they have their own system playing their own music, so you really can't tell what's honestly being what's sounding the best. So the frequency response on this, I always look at frequency response because I love to be able to hear the deep basses, because I like the deep bass guitar and the deep thump of the bass drums. And if I do rock music and electronic music, and I want them to sound very similar. In electronic music, you want to tend to push a lot of bass sounds, the lowest frequencies, the sub-bass frequencies. And on the rock, you still want some sub-bass frequencies, but you don't want it to overpower the mid-bass, because you want that thump of the bass drum and the other toms and the guitar, the bass guitar range to be fluid and very thick and resonant as well. So I need to be able to hear both ends of the spectrum. So these have a 5 to 35,000 kilohertz frequency response. And I'll give you my comment on that. So this is what I really wanted right away. The specs impressed me. The video reviews impressed me, but I was forced to get this. Okay, in this frequency response, only it goes to, what is it, 28,000 kilohertz, I think? Oh, it's right here. Let's take a look. 12 to 28,000 kilohertz. It's a 32 ohm. Oh, that's another thing. This is a 250 ohm, so you need a lot of juice to power this, and that's fine because the studio equipment that I use, the system that I use for the headset, it's a tube amp, and it tremendous power. This is on a low volume. To explain that, you put this at a low volume with 32 ohms, it sounds great. This, you have to crank it up, and if you on your portable devices like an iPhone or a laptop computer, you turn it all the way up. For me, it's not loud enough. I like to feel the music, and I like to really get in. I need loud volume, and this just doesn't do it with portable devices. So if that's a concern for you, this is definitely not for you and not for a portable device. But anyways, it's a studio monitor anyways. What I used to listen to on a portable device is totally different from the headphones I use in the studio. Anyways, so the frequency response wasn't too bad, because I've heard 10 kilohertz to 20, 25, 30, and it's just fine. It's very flat, and that's what you're looking for anyways. But I would always like to have the option that if I go really deep on the bass in the mix, I'll be able to hear it, which I was afraid I wouldn't be able to hear it with this. So what happened finally? What finally happened? This one may be defective, so I'm returning it, but I'm going to get the 770s or 790s, whatever they are. They're the closed back, and see if there's a difference. But this one, when turned up too loud in my tube amp, the bass would rattle. And I tested this not with my mixes, but with anything on Spotify, all kinds of music. I ran the gamut of all genres to see what was going on, and they would rattle. Maybe it's a defective unit, but the major complaint is the highs. This to me sounds like it's absolutely equalized. Like they've put an equalizer in this headset and cranked up the highs and cranked up the lows. And the lows aren't overbearing, but they distort, which is horrible. So you don't have a lot of mids. You have super highs, super lows, boosted, equalized, boosted. It's not a flat range experience, where if you turn up your treble, you can hear the frequencies. Like this says it would allow you to hear those frequencies. No, this sounds to me more like it's pushing those frequencies. On the treble, I have to turn the treble, to noon or 9 o'clock sometimes, because it's overbearing. I love the crispiness of this, but it seems like it's being boosted. Not happy at all. This here was perfect, because I got a really flat bass response. I had to push the headset because they are loose, very comfortable. You can wear this for hours on end and never be bothered by it. This, after 30 minutes to an hour, if you have a big head, not for you. But these, if you push down on the headset and kind of seal up, you get really nice deep frequencies. So whenever I'm working with the bass drums and the bass guitars and any sub bass keyboards, I push down on my headset and I can really get those nice thumps, and they're very realistic on every system. So, you know, the goal on these headsets and studio monitors is to be able to listen to it on the spot and generate the frequencies that you can clearly hear, and then take it into the automobile, take it to a hi-fi system, take it to a Google speaker or a Bluetooth speaker of any kind or any headset, and it should sound exactly the same. Not exactly the same regarding frequencies, but the levels should be equalized. No matter where you hear, the bass should sound like, okay, you know, maybe a system will push more bass frequencies. Here, let me turn this on. Okay. Thank you so much for the subscribers that we have, over 2,200 and counting. But getting back to what I was saying, so the point of these headsets, let me just put this on, so comfortable. The point of these headsets is to be able to go into the studio, work on your mix, and rely that no matter where you go with that mix, no matter where you play it, the experience will be the same. Not one instrument or one sound will overpower another. Now, the frequency response on the AKGs, I thought, you know, they lacked in the bass. That's why I'm still going to order the DT790s to see if, because I am missing a lot of bass frequencies, you know. But with all these headphones, once you get to know your headset, you fall in love. I may end up keeping these. Once you know your source, your headset, you'll know, okay, you know, when I play this on another system, I will be lacking in bass, so I'm going to push it up just a notch to make sure that I'm safe in that area. So once you get to know your headset, you can, you know, it's fine. So these may be the ones, but I'm curious to see the DT770 Pros. Anyways, the AKGs, there aren't any videos explaining the frequency response and how these actually sound. I think they sound phenomenal. The highs that are crisp. You still have to turn down your treble depending on your system on these, and they're very flat. You immediately go to it. You know, if you're into rock music, you need to feel that guitar and hear those distortion levels mixed equally with the bass and the drums. You don't want an overpowering low bass guitar and maybe floating guitars. I mean, if you're into that, that's great, but you know, if you use this on every genre of rock music or instrumental music, you get something that's true to life, in my opinion. I highly recommend these. With the BeyerDynamics, you get an equalize. It's like if you just add an equalizer to your iPhone. You know how you have your iPhone on flat and you change your equalizer to different settings? You're gonna get different settings, but that's not a true equalizer. Those aren't boosted. What they're doing is just eliminating a lot of the mids to give you the impression that the highs and lows are boosted, but they're really not boosted. This, you keep on a flat response on an iPhone, for example, and it sounds like it's completely boosted. The treble and the bass is boosted. Now this isn't, you know, they're not like Beats headsets that you can't use as monitors, because those are made for listening. They're not to monitor your music in the studio, but those boost up the bass. It's just like, it's not that type of boost. It's a thumping boost that actually distorts the actual speakers. So to me, it's horrible. I'll give you a review of the 770s. I'm returning these. I'm exchanging them for the 770s, and we'll see what happens finally. Because I have to make a decision on what I'm going to continue to use so I can complete my 4th album. I'm 0 Point Giant online. Anywhere you listen to music, check it out. I call it organic rock because it starts from nowhere, really, truly. I just pick up an instrument. It always starts with the drums and the bass and the guitar, but everything's created on the spot. Nothing's practiced because I just don't have time to practice, and I don't know how to practice. So this is in contrary to all the musicians that tell you to practice and learn your theory. I'm totally against that. I like everything to come out naturally. Anyways, that's just my sound. That's just my opinion. But definitely do not recommend these. Probably the only video you'll ever see saying that. This is a true and honest opinion. And these AKGs, and they're about the same price. You can find them anywhere between $150 and $250, depending on where you get them. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all the subscribers. I'll be back with another video on, on this channel. We have everything. Really, there's no gamut of, and that's a challenge here with this channel, and that's okay. That's what we do here. We'll give you a little bit of everything because, life is about everything. We don't like to focus on one topic. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Hopefully you love this video. Please like and subscribe. Share this with your musician friends, people that are looking for studio monitors, and anyone interested in going out and getting what's truly best for the rock music genre. Even though I use it for all sorts of genres, because I don't put myself in one genre. If you listen to Zero Point Giant, you'll see there's all sorts of genres. Whatever comes out, that's what it is. Like having kids. Kid comes out, you're not gonna say, I don't like this one, let's start over, let's perfect this kid. Imperfections are perfect. That's the way God created everything, imperfect, right? Everything created by God is, in my opinion, perfect. So even when you find imperfections, those things are perfect. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.